Okay, close the door. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Patriots 3, Life, Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness. And here's your hosts, Tim, Tanya, and our special guest, Mr. T.O. How y'all doing tonight?
Great. How are you, Tim?
Doing all right. Been a fun time these last few days here. We'll briefly touch up on that. So today's show, we're definitely going to be talking about the third assassination attempt against our president. We're going to be talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. We're going to talk about James Comey and a little bit of what's going on with that, and we definitely have more. So this show is not sponsored or anything like that. It's all out of my pocket.
But it should be.
Right. So, but I want to definitely give a quick shout out to my friend Kimberly Overton. She's with Remnant Healthcare, and I'm gonna drop the link in there. So definitely take control a little bit more over your health. Visit remnanthealthcare.org. Wonderful group of nurses there that will definitely get things on the right path for you. I definitely give my friend Albert a shout out really quick. He sent me this amazing T-shirt here. We the people.
And your hats. And your hat.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we definitely. I had a wonderful time. I was invited to a private retreat. Definitely a lot of good memories and a lot of good life skills that were learned on that retreat. So
sure.
Definitely want to thank the people that put that together. Definitely appreciated. All right. So definitely follow the channel because again, we're not sponsored. So just go ahead and like, share, and follow. That actually helps out quite a bit. So you can find this show Patriots 3 at Tim Holliday TV. That's TIM HOLLIDAY TV. There's no spaces. And again, give a like, share, and follow. All right, let's get right to it, Mr. T.O. So which one are we going to hit up first, Mr. Comey?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, let's do it. So quite an interesting thing, which it's all over the news. So I'm not going to share one specific link. So I'm going to leave that to the audience to search what they choose. But as of a day ago, James Comey makes first court appearance after second DOJ indictment. Yeah, so I think it's about darn time that something like this starts happening, especially with that guy.
Yeah. No, it needs to happen more often with everybody.
Yeah.
Anybody that abuses their power, we should be taking it away.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think,
What
Mr.
do you know about it, Theo?
We can't hear you, Mr. Tio.
He's saying something really smart, though. I know it.
Oh, hey, I hear noise now.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that my phone I think is somehow connected here, so maybe it's going through the phone. But I just thought as far as like the new Attorney General Blanche, I think he came in. He's got the rug burning. He's doing a very good job. I think of all the things that we were sort of promised during the Trump campaign. And so as soon as Bondi was removed, Blanche came in, and all of a sudden, right away, we've got the SPLC indictments, and then now the James Comey indictment as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were saying, Tanya, I think it's we were expecting and we're hoping that this should be coming a little bit more often. James Comey was a big influence on the Russia hoax back in 2016. 2017, and then throughout the entire first, Trump presidency. So, now with this new indictment, and the indictment is basically based off of the 8747 or 8647. I think that's still it's a legitimate reason to go after someone. It's basically the same as that anyone saying we need to I want to kill the president, which is not what I'm trying to say here, but that holds precedence on legal terms. So I think this is a good thing. It's something that needs to be done because I don't know how many people that protest recently, like for King's Day and whatnot, when you see the signs over whatever bridge that you're driving under, you will usually see us 8647 up there, and that's basically that telling everyone that they want someone to be excommunicated, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
So, I mean, 86 is an old term that I've known since like I was probably a little guy.
mhm.
Back in the
Yeah.
days when they used to allow kids in the bars, 86 was a term to kick somebody out of the bar, kick them out, get them out.
So
Uh,
his rebuttal to it is that he didn't understand or didn't know what that meant. And someone in law enforcement, obviously they know what that means.
yeah, they
So
know.
he's
Yeah,
just
they
playing
know.
he's just playing dumb at the moment. But I don't know if it's going to have any legs on it, to be honest. But I think it's just good that we've got an attorney general right now. It's actually doing what we expected attorney general to be doing.
Yeah,
Yes,
correct.
All
I
about
agree.
law and order.
Right.
absolutely.
Nobody's
I mean,
above the law.
we did a show roughly about a year ago, and we were called the Trump picks and what our thoughts were, and we were not quite sure about Pam Bondi, as well as
Yeah,
some
I remember.
others in the cabinet as well. But it's
Yeah.
Right.
go ahead and go back and watch it, y'all. Definitely an
Mhm.
interesting show. Oh, and I totally forgot, if you forgot to catch last week's show, we had to push it back to Friday, so go ahead and catch that one too. Sorry, folks, a little off track here, but yeah. So getting back to the James Comey, and I remember hosting a show for a candidate, and yeah, that was a big topic, was James Comey. Goodness, I mean, how many
Mhm.
times was he pressed on against some of the our folks in Congress,
Mhm.
mainly
Mhm.
Republicans, but I remember, I think Josh Hawley, pressed a lot of heavy questions on him, a lot of hardball questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
But that's nobody's above the law anyways. And how, I mean, it's kind of childish anyway, like 86. I mean, in a way it is a bit childish, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're indicting him. So, hey,
Right.
and
Yeah.
just kind of getting to that point of like all the rhetoric that's been happening, the guy that tried to assassinate President Trump
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
past
Mhm.
weekend, he
Right.
posted a memorandum saying that he didn't want he couldn't have a pedophile and a rapist and all this other stuff, which is all the same rhetoric that he's being fed through
Right.
the media.
Yeah.
And
Right.
86
Right.
47 coming from Comey, and all of a sudden now you're driving under a bridge where you've got all these people,
Yeah.
no King's Day or whatever, but there's up
Right.
there as well as an 86-47.
Yeah.
And to me,
Right.
it's like, okay, they're just reiterating and regurgitating the exact same terminology that
Right.
either the media is saying or these people in high official positions that shouldn't be saying these types of things.
Right.
Well, I remember Maxine Waters
Right.
clearly saying, if you
Sure.
see them out in public or in a restaurant,
Get
you
in
know
front
what
of
to
their
do.
face.
Oh,
It was
that's
actually-
valid, Tim.
Yeah, I
Valid
seen,
right there.
we've all seen
Mhm.
that on video, or I see
Yep.
those that are paying attention.
Yeah,
Those,
and
yeah,
so the Democrats typically are do what you do, but don't I don't want to do it, or let's put it this way. I
Do what I
didn't
say,
that.
not what I do.
Yeah.
Do what I
Exactly.
say, not what I do. Is that right?
Yeah, something to that effect. So they will say something like "get in their face" and do this, and then when suddenly we're in their face doing the same thing, they're like, they're
They don't like it.
right? So
Well,
go back to Newsom,
Yeah.
where he was telling everyone to wear a face mask and 6 feet away, and then suddenly he's the one at a dinner table with a bunch of his friends, not wearing masks, all sitting right next to each other, and he's
Right.
making all of us do it, but not him. So
Right.
like who's the
Right.
real
The
king here? King Newsom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rules for me, but not for thee, is how Gavin Newsom is
Right.
acting. Yeah.
Right.
It's just
That's
Right.
right.
terrible rhetoric there.
I don't like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's typical government in today's society. It's terrible.
Well, his winery never closed either, right, Tio? That winery was open all the time.
What was that,
during
Pump Jack
COVID.
Winery? In fact, I
Yep.
think they got some
Yeah.
funds from the COVID
Yep.
thing.
Yeah. What the heck?
The other thing that
What's
he
that?
didn't have to do is his son or kids. I don't know if he's got 2 sons or not, but I know that his kids were still going to school
Yes.
in a classroom, whereas
Yeah.
Everybody else's were at home.
Right.
Yeah, we were all studying at home or stayed at home, and so yeah, it's basically like you said, it's rules for thee, but not for me,
Yeah.
and he,
Yeah.
he was able to get around that. The other thing that really upsets me, and now we're kind of getting into like a Newsom tangent here, but his wife
Yeah.
has all been talking a lot of about Trump and whatnot, and here she is taking funds for Palisades fire that happened a little over a year ago.
Yes.
And none of that money has been going into any of those homeowners that live there. And so, I think that the Pratt kid, I forgot his first name, but
I know who you're talking about. Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt.
Yeah, I like Spencer.
I think he has a really good chance. I mean, he looks. I mean, he's been using his
real
media, and he's for sure real. I don't know if I would agree with him in all aspects, but I will tell you, he will probably do a better job than that Karen Bass or really anyone down in that area. So, anyways, it's just Newsom's wife is bashing Trump and all those other things, but also at the same time, she's got an NGO that she collected all this money, and she's actually acting CEO of it. So she's getting a couple $100,000 of this money that's being supposed to be donated. And so that's just another topic, but I know that we still and whatnot. And so just going back to the words being used, we need to actually, I'd say this goes for both sides, that we just need to kind of tone it down and keep it from being a violent type of rhetoric, because I think that people are actually crazy enough. And living in California, I think we have too many deranged Trumpers. So, I was just looking at some other things online about the candidates in California, and every single candidate running for governor that's a Democrat, their platform is they're against Trump. That's it.
Yeah, that's all they're running on. Yeah,
they have nothing else. So
it's been like that since he made his announcement in 2015. So it's
right. Yeah,
it's amazing that so many of those people, and I say those because I don't really relate to them, that they would follow that as their, I'm going to vote for this person because he's anti-Trump or she's anti-Trump. That could be Satan, and they'll vote for it, because that's just it's lunatics. I don't believe in that. They don't really actually have a common brain cell to actually do a research on a candidate or not. As long as that person says they're a D and they're against Trump, I'm going to vote for it. And that's really
I've been guilty about voting for the single party. I voted R all down the line, and without educating myself properly. And I'm guilty. Nowadays I'm just completely all right. Who's this person? Who's supporting them? So on and so forth. I'll go like as far as like looking into the FPPC there in California, or the FEC, which is nationwide. So it's I gotta I should find those websites really quick. But that's dig deep, people. Do your homework, educate yourselves. I remember, something we didn't educate ourselves on is what a lot of rhetoric in California is Proposition 47. And it is titled with a false title of the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. And what that did is it released prisoners. It raised the felony from $500 to $950 in the state of California. And it's just I've seen some interesting things where certain store owners, charge everything at $951 and you'll get your coupon here kind of thing. It's kind of funny on that.
And that's the smart way to do it, because obviously if they had the price, whatever the regular price is, then the people are going to come in and they're going to steal. But if you go at $951 and that's what you pay, you don't pay that, but you go to the counter and you go to pay and you get a discount off it. But if you walk out with that $951 item, you should be going to jail for that. It doesn't matter if that's a stick of gum or not.
Right.
Right.
So, but I mean, when I moved out of state, I'm in a different state than y'all. I heard on the scanner radio that this woman in a plaid shirt dropped a lipstick or something like that in her purse. Cops were called. I was just like, that's the way it used to be there in California. What happened to that? I'm talking like a $1 or $2 item.
Right.
I mean, stealing. Wrong is wrong.
It's one of the 10 commandments, right? You shall not steal. So I mean, really, we should be following those as the way of life. And and unfortunately, I think in democratic states and cities, they do not follow those type of commitments, and so there's people that will break those laws. And even if you have the strictest laws, there's still going to be people out there that are going to still want to break the law. But if you allow a larger threshold of like a $950 felony, then
Yeah, I like that.
the people that will normally still, maybe small amounts will now obviously still larger amounts and maybe bigger
Right.
price tag. So
Right.
it doesn't make sense. And so that's the one thing about the Democrats that I always say. They don't have a very long foresight. They're very short-sighted. They'll think of something today, think it's a great idea, but then 5 or 6 years down the road, they'll go, shoot, we messed up, or we got to make a change. Look at the gas tax. The gas tax keeps going up. And now where we are today compared to everyone else, obviously we're hurting a lot more in California than we are in other states. I'll give you another example. They all said, go get an electric vehicle. And then now what do you want to do? They want to tax every mile.
Right.
Oh, yeah, like 15 cents a mile or something, right? I saw that.
Well, I'm not certain. But
still, it's the
concept.
So I mean, you get charged and taxed for your utility bill, and then another tax on top of that for just driving.
Yeah.
But that's insane.
The reason why they have to do that, they're not making the revenue from the gas tax because there's so many people in California that went to EVs.
Yeah.
Number two is they're the amount of money that they would normally get from the gas tax actually for vehicles would help them, whatever, funds that they're trying to do, which I think is going in the back pocket. Because I look at my roads, and obviously when they passed the tax in 2018, they said they were going to fix all the roads and bridges. I can tell you right now, there's none of that money's going to roads.
Nothing's been fixed, man. Not around here.
Done actually in my area. I live in San Mateo. They put in a toll road now, so I have to pay.
Oh, so now you have to pay to drive on your roads.
if you want to work, drive in the left lane, which is not used to be the car lane, which used to be 2 people, now it's 3 people. You have to be 3 people, and if you want to get from point A to point B, and you're a single person and you're in a hurry, let's say you have to go to the airport, right? And you're late or whatever, you get in that lane. Well, now it's going to cost you, $12 to $14 just to get to the airport. And that's in your own car.
Yeah, and so fashion. Yeah, I get it.
Is what they're spending that money on, is building out these infrastructures, but it's not to make the roads better. It's to actually push in more money or put more money in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
And I say back pocket because we have I think we have 9 or 11 bridges, and if in 1 year, with all those bridges, they make almost $1 billion. It's like around $1 trillion. It's $900 billion.
That's a lot of
per year. They get about 6 million a day at the Bay Bridge. So think about how much money they're getting for those bridges. Where's that money going? And this is only in the Bay Area. Think about San Diego. And I don't know, LA has I think 1 or 2 bridges.
There's tons of bridges. Yeah.
And especially where I live, I feel like we get taxed all the time. Yeah. We get taxed on gas.
Property tax, gas tax.
My registration goes up instead of going down.
Yeah.
You got the toll bridges. Now I've got a toll road. And
and we already paid for those roads. Didn't we already pay for those roads?
We did.
Come on now.
And go back to the Golden Gate Bridge. That thing has been paid off for like years and years and years ago. There's no one working behind the counter. There's no more toll bridge collectors.
Right.
It's all automatic, and they're charging I think $9 or $10. Again, that's a totally different bridge, but that's the business. I said to a buddy, that's the business we need to get into. We need to own a bridge.
Right, build a bridge and leave it.
People are going to pay for it, and there's not enough people in California to actually, that I think, speak up for like things that they don't like. They just deal with it and go on with life. And
so I'm actually grabbing a video really quick that I saw this morning from James Gallagher. He's state senate, I believe, or is he assembly? I always forget the two. But let me find this video really quick here, and let me. It's going to take me half a moment.
I like Spencer Pratt. I would totally vote for him.
I know
I think
James
he's
Gallagher is
legit.
up in Northern California, but Spencer Pratt, was he San Diego County? I forget.
No, he's in
No,
LA.
I think he's LA.
Oh, Los Angeles
Mhm.
County. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I've
would
heard a
be
lot of
good,
good
I
things
think.
about him.
So he and his wife they were in a reality show about 20 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, I
it was
remember the Hills or something. Yeah, I
Hills.
remember that. That's right.
And he was sort of the bad dude of the show. I mean, it was kind of he was
Like the big jerk. Yeah,
the
big
jerk.
jerk. Yeah, the jerk.
But over time, he's grown up, obviously, and what he's talking about is actually 100% true. There were so many different things that happened in that Palisades fire,
Yeah,
very similar to Lahaina. When I think about both of those fires, one hurricane style winds, which, I get it. Sometimes we do get those winds down in Southern California, but I don't think at that level. No, number two is
right.
the water. What happened to the water? Why was the water drained?
Right.
And then there was always, I blame it like the mayor was blaming the fire chief, the fire chief was blaming the mayor, and there was a lot of finger pointing. But that
Passing the buck.
reservoir, that reservoir was empty
shifting.
for like almost a year. Like, why?
Right.
Why was it empty for so long?
Because it's sitting in a committee somewhere, and the committee members are getting paid when more than likely the buddies of whomever government official it is. I've seen stuff like that. It's just at local levels there in California. I sat on a board committee at one time, and I'm just like, "Ooh, this is terrible. I'm out."
The Palisades is on the coast, so it's not like you couldn't just dip in and get some water, right? I mean, if you ask me,
I've
right?
seen some similarities even with the Paradise Fire and the car fire, for that matter. So I mean, these are Northern California.
And you say that because Lahaina is right on the coast of
correct.
Maui, so you would think that somehow they can get water from the ocean.
Should be easy.
Like, why couldn't a Coast Guard cutter go nearby and shoot?
Start shooting.
And these are the things that were really strange to me when I first heard about it. Plus,
me too.
They kind of condoned made them so they surrounded the exits, and people that actually escape had to break through. So the roads that came in and out of Lahaina, they were blocking them off, and for what reason I have no idea. But that's why so many people had to jump out of the car. They actually jumped in the ocean. Why the fire was firing, all over their heads. So really strange.
That would be some scary stuff.
In regards to the car fire and the Paradise Fire, there's actually a little documentary put together by, I believe, Channel 2 News or Channel 10 News in Northern California. It's called Fire, Power, Money. It's a series. I want to see if I can find it, and I'll put it in the comments here. And Mr. Tio, I'll send it to you later. It's definitely good to watch. I think it's roughly around an hour. And it's like, how the government's in bed with this big old corporation that controls the electricity.
The real estate developers or somebody, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, with the Pacific Gas and Electric.
Oh, is that who it is? Okay.
Yeah. But the other thing about the Paradise fire, if you look at some of the fire, where the fire was, you will see that trees are still there. Homes are completely gone, but trees right next to the home.
But all the trees are there.
How is that possible? Like, trees
no,
are the
it's
ones,
not.
right? So there's some weirdness that was going on there. I probably will say this, that maybe there will be some people that will go, I don't believe in that, but the direct energy weapons, that's DEW, like microwave weapons. I don't know, has that had anything to do with any of this? I would say that some of it was done at Lahaina. Maybe some of it was done even with the Palisades. Who knows? But the crazy part about all of that is now, Tanya and I, we're paying for that. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
So my energy bill, let's say, 10 years ago, was less than $100 in the summer.
Correct.
Summertime now, I'm paying over $300 for this, just for electric.
Wow.
So, right. I know people that are paying $1,000 just because they turn on their damn air conditioner for, on auto at 74 or something. They're paying like $1,000 a month. And I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. After that lawsuit with all the homes and such, the government in California bailed out PG&E.
Yeah.
And instead of, raising the taxes on people, they just raised the price on the utility.
Right.
Yeah. And like Edison's technically a privately owned company, isn't it? I mean, even though they're shareholders or whatever, why are we bailing out somebody like that anyway?
Right.
They're on their own. They make their own money, right?
So where I live, we don't have AC. I don't have AC.
Okay, because you're by the coast.
Right. And we don't need
it,
to be honest. I mean, even when it is warm, we don't really need it. But
I don't need it either.
I did say this to my brother-in-law who lives in Texas, and he asked me how much I pay, for electricity, and I said $250 in the summer, and he goes, damn, he goes, that's what I pay, and he's got a pool and AC, and then he lives in Texas, and I'm thinking, okay, well, see that there's a difference here. We're paying for all those those fires that happen in Palisades and all that. So not Palisades, the Paradise.
Right.
So they'll blame somebody, but in the end, they're still they're not. It's like a slap on the wrist. They're sorry we did this, but we'll still charge our customers a certain amount.
But again, where's the accountability? That's just a simple question.
There isn't any. There's none. We had the fire in our backyard, Tio, at 3 p.m, pitch dark. That fire had burned for 5 days and went from like 50 acres to 55,000 acres, and not one plane, not a fire truck, nothing in sight. And I'm like, what the hell do I do now? So I'm put my fire sprinklers on my roof, and I was like, it's the best I can do. I can't see anything. It's pitch dark out, right? What am I going to do? So our neighbors literally were putting out each other's houses. Yeah. So I want a refund on my taxes or something.
Right.
I want something back.
We should request refunds on all the taxes that we pay. When
their stupidity.
When we lose property, we lose life, whatnot. Because you know what?
Right.
Honestly, that should not happen. If we are California, the third, fourth, fifth largest economy in the entire world, why is it so that we're in a situation where we're in now? We pay the most taxes. We've got a homeless problem that never seems to get fixed. It's been that way for a long time, but it's gotten worse in the last 10 to 15 years. It goes back to the 16 years of who's been running the state. All those things are all compounding. And I look at anyone who's actually going to vote for this, the next governor, and say, look, has anything changed in the last 16 years? If not, why would you vote for the same person, same party?
Right. Never.
Right. Yeah.
Never.
So, I'm like even stepping away from the two-party system. I'm looking outside the box, and it's quite interesting looking at it from an outside state perspective. It's just like, wait, you guys are. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few days ago, and he's like, "We're going to vote for the lesser of the two evil." I'm just like, are you not voting for
it's all evil?
Why vote for evil? Vote for something good. There's a good Christian man who's running, and he's strong follower of the Constitution. Navy veteran. That's what my choice is. But I'm I'm just looking outside the box of it all.
The saying is.
Speaking of that, Tio, you told us about one of the candidates and the ballots. We were talking about this yesterday. What happened to the missing ballots? So
the last I heard, the candidate's running for governor. He's a Republican, and he's from the Riverside. He's the sheriff of the Riverside. So what he's done is he's confiscated the ballots because there was 611 ballots that went out in the county. Okay, so 611,000 ballots went out. However, 656,000 ballots were counted. So there's a 46,000 discrepancy between where they went out with a certain amount, but then they gained more.
How does that even happen? Right.
And then, exactly. How does that even happen? And then on top of that, right when he did that, the state attorney general Bonta wanted to put a stay on it, basically stop him from being able to count those ballots. There's obviously there's a reason for that, right? There's not. It has nothing to do with integrity. It had everything to do with the fraud that they're all part of. And I'm saying this out loud because there's no way 46,000, if that's true, 46,000 votes gained, right? So there's either
from where?
There's either people, obviously there's the mail-in ballot process. So if you start mail-in ballots, and and registering people, whoever goes to the DMV, for example, just to get, like, let's say a
Oh,
license.
yeah, yeah,
Because the very
yeah.
first thing they ask you is, do you want to re-register to vote? So if
Right.
you're a illegal alien, and they allow illegal aliens to get a license, so they can drive.
I don't get that.
Yeah, it's just a little checkbox to register to vote
I
with you
know.
getting your driver's license there.
So, you know,
Stupid.
that's what I'm thinking, is that, you know, there's other thing called ballot harvesting, which is
Yeah,
go
yeah.
pick up a bunch of ballots. Once you've
Right.
picked up ballots and taken them out, that should not even be accounted anymore. You've lost custody
Right.
of that ballot. The only people that voting is when you go to a poll, you actually do the voting there, you put it into the box, and you walk away. You know, my wife is
Right.
not from the United States, and she said that when they would vote, they had to put their finger in ink, so that they knew that
Oh,
they couldn't go to
that's a
another
good idea.
precinct or down on the other side of town and say they wanted to
Right.
vote, because the ink is not going to come off their finger for a couple days.
Oh, that's smart, actually. I
And
like
she
that.
thought this country
I-
was like the biggest, like the best country, until she started seeing all the voting and how it's voted,
Right.
how
Right.
people vote, and she thought, yeah, it's better where she's from, even though there's a lot of
Right.
corruption in it. But at the
Right.
same time, if you go to a polling station on the day of the vote and you vote,
Right.
you put your finger in the ink, you walk away, and that's it.
Right.
And then they know by either that night or the next day who's the winner. Whereas for
Right.
us, we've got this mail-in ballot BS, and all of a sudden now they're
Right.
counting ballots a week later. You know,
Oh, and then we
Yeah.
get the machines, and anything that's hooked up to a network can be hacked.
Right. Right. Correct. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
So that's
Yep.
again, I sound like a broken record. So I mentioned this on a number of shows here. Shasta County has actually done something pretty good. So they take a picture, feed it in the machine, then they do a hand count after. Because up in Shasta County, their ROV person, after Shasta County said no machines or hand count only, their ROV went to Sacramento, cried about it, and made a law that machines have to be used. So Shasta County found a little bit of a workaround with that, to where there's still a good, more accurate tally with the pitcher, machine, and hand counting. And I said it again, I'll say it again. I've said it before, say it again, that bring back some seasonal jobs with the poll workers. Get those
they do
hand
that.
counting back.
Yeah.
And in regards to the ballot harvesting, I mean, wow, that shouldn't be. They should.
That shouldn't be.
Whomever is voting should be, cognitive enough to put a signature, hand it over to your postal person, even though I'm not too trusting on that these days. But I mean,
Tim, that's a valid point, because listen, my mom, who died in 2019, she voted. I was like,
wow.
what the hell?
Wow.
And then my dad, he had voted in person, but they told him that they received his. They said they received his mail-in ballot, and I'm like, well, what the heck? How are we getting this so screwed up?
So that is exactly what's been happening, where people go to the vote and they say, well, wait a minute, it's already shown that you voted. It's like,
right.
So yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And going back to when I first started, I did an absentee ballot. I think it was like 2004 or maybe 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in those days, we would get 2 envelopes. We would get an envelope that you put the ballot in, and this is absentee. So this is not a mail-in ballot. This is absentee. Like I did it because I was like, I didn't, at that time, I didn't want to go to the polling station. I wish I want to go polling stations now, but going back to those days, you put the envelope or the ballot into the first envelope, you sign your name, and you put it into another envelope, which is the one you send out. Yeah. That's the way it should be, because right now it's a single page, it's a single envelope. And I know that when I voted, let's say for the recall,
me too,
see through who you voted for. So I actually told everyone to just, instead of having the outside shown,
where you could see it,
so that the other side, the blank side, was shown.
Right.
But again, that's just one thing that the Democrats do. And I say Democrats because they're the ones who control the state. They're the ones who do all the shenanigans. Whenever it comes down to a vote, they always use terminology that makes it seem like it's not a big deal. Like, go back to the gas tax. Oh, it's for infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. Right. Or it's for roads. And people, oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So they don't really pay attention. and then they don't
Mhm.
realize that it's a tax that happens every single year.
Right.
Like it's not just
Right.
tax.
It's ridiculous.
It's over. Like that tax has been going on since 2000. Well, it was voted in 2017, so 2018,
Right.
and
Right.
it's gone up. If you go to any Chevron station, they'll show you the amount of taxes that you're being billed per gallon. I think it's like $1.81 per for
Yeah,
every
but
gallon.
they say it's not that much though. They say it's like 50 cents or 60 cents or something ridiculous. But I'm with you, Tio. It's
No, it's,
way the heck.
Well,
higher.
with
yeah,
everything that's going on in California, and there's some refineries closing. Let me pull up a video really quick from James Gallagher, who I mentioned earlier. So let's take
That's
a quick
good.
look at this.
Have we stabilized supply at the Phillips 66 refinery in Southern California?
So I'm going to ask my colleague.
Well, the answer is no, because they closed down, right? So there's no stabilized supply there, right? How about is there a stable storage supply at Valero's refinery in the East Bay?
Benicia, Bolero Benicia, it's they have given notice and they have ramped down their operations. They have closed down as of April.
So no, right? Since you guys started, your program over there, we've now 2 refineries in the state have shut down.
Gone.
So 18% of our refined gas is gone.
Right.
So is it safe to say that since you guys started, our gas supply has actually decreased?
So the in-state refining capacity has decreased. We are importing more fuel
From where?
supplies.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Multiple locations.
Right.
Sure, go ahead, name them.
Okay.
We are importing from the from North Korea. Sorry, from South Korea. We're importing from
What a
various
joke.
parts of Bahamas. We're importing from Middle East. So we're importing some
Oh,
gas.
from the Middle East. Where are we importing from the Middle East?
It comes
This is
from
crazy.
Middle East, from Saudi Arabia, from I don't have the specifics here right now, from multiple countries.
Can you believe that?
It's funny.
Maybe that's a great idea. I mean, so just think about it. Importing anything is going to cost you more
Right.
money.
Yeah.
Correct.
We've got
Way
the
more.
gas in California. We were just around that area. I think it's called San Ardo. We've got the Santa Barbara off the coast.
Yeah.
And
They
it
were
just-
pumping over there.
But when
They were pumping.
when my daughter was at school, that refinery, both at San Ardo and also off the coast, they were dormant. They weren't on. And now suddenly we're getting that. And so because we're getting that, our gas prices should start coming down. I mean, think about it.
Right.
If you do it
Right.
in house, it's going to be cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
only
agree.
problem is the refineries are the ones who have left the state.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost
Right.
us more because, as you mentioned, 18%, the Valero and I think it was Chevron. I think Chevron's actually taking their headquarters from Dublin in Northern California to
Yeah.
Houston.
Oh,
And I think Valero has also done that. And I think there's one other company has decided that they want to get out of California.
Wow.
That's
pretty
a
much
whole
everybody.
different topic too, because you talk about all the exodus of people leaving California. There's
Yeah.
more people leaving than coming in, but there's also a lot
Right.
of businesses that are leaving. And then they want to add this billionaire tax. And so all these
Right.
billionaires who run these companies are just like, you know what? I don't want to really live here anymore.
Right.
So,
Right.
like I said before at the very beginning, Democrats don't have a very long-sighted vision. They're very nearsighted.
Okay.
They'll think,
Yep.
let's do this, and only just to get the votes. To be honest, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then
I agree.
they make a change, 4 or 5 years down the road because they've made a huge mistake at the beginning, and they don't
Right.
think.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait,
So,
I
I mean,
want to get back to how you can go in the gas station and ask them how much we're paying in gas tax. You can really do that, Tio?
Yeah. So if you go to a Chevron station, because they're really
Mhm.
big on they didn't like the gas tax. They
Okay,
campaigned
okay.
against it. They will show
Okay.
you that per gallon, this is how much you're paying extra in taxes.
That's
And
just
they
going to
broke it
make me
down.
mad.
I remember right. It's $1.81
Damn.
in taxes only. That's
Wow.
added on top of the per gallon that
Wow.
so we're paying that, like say $6 per gallon, but
Right.
$1 51 of it is taxes. So we should be paying like $4 and something compared
Right.
to
Instead of, yeah.
that's what everyone else is paying. Like if my mom lives in Texas and they're paying less than $4. At least on
Three
regular,
something.
on premium, it's around $4, maybe a little over $4. But
Right.
here in California, I pay about $6.19 or $6.29,
Yeah.
I think, somewhere in that range per gallon. So
I pay
great.
$7 something per gallon for diesel. I cannot believe.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
so diesel is that's a different animal, but yeah,
It
that's
used to be cheaper though. It used to be cheaper than regular gas. Now it's more. I don't get it.
So I mean, in middle
I
of
have a
America,
diesel.
Missouri, last time I checked, it was $3.43 a gallon for regular gas.
so
Okay,
there you
that's
go.
a deal. That's a bargain. I wish I
Right.
could pick that up.
I have a brother who lives in Ohio. He went to get his car registered, and he was complaining about it because he was like, you had to do it on his birthday because they have to do it on the birthday. They don't do it on the day that they bought the car. So like my cars are on the date of the car when we bought the car. So it's different.
Whatever month it might be. Yeah. Yeah.
So he does it on his birthday. Well, he kind of was complaining, I have to do it on my birthday, but he does it for 2 years, and he paid $88.
Wow.
I paid $1,000. I paid $1,000 for my registration. How about you?
Yeah, I paid
Yep.
500. I paid 510, and that's on a 2018 vehicle. So,
I paid
I
$1,000.
tell you, it's not going down. It's pretty much been
going up.
hovering the same price or gone up a few dollars.
Right. Wow.
That's never happened before the gas tax and the registration that happened in 2018 in California. The registration always went down. Every year.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go down. Right.
So yeah, someone's making some money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And where's that money at? And we have a lack of accounting in California like you've never seen anywhere. It should be online. We should be able to just go online. We don't need no Freedom of Information Act stuff. We just want to see it right now.
That's why we should ask for a refund.
Yeah.
A total refund.
I want a damn refund.
There is that whole Nick Shirley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's called it's Assembly Bill 2624 that it passed.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to get passed through from the governor, but basically it's stating that someone who's an independent
journalist,
reporter, can go and cannot go to places and start filming and asking questions. That's just ridiculous.
Why?
Wow.
Yeah.
What? Oh, like the guy that's been going around the country, the one guy with the I know who you're talking.
So it's Nick Shirley, James O'Keefe. There's
now I got
my friend Ivor Heckler. Yeah, there's a lot of good independent journalists.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, they're making a good name.
Without them, there wouldn't be any accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally, he's exposing it. They both are. James O'Keefe is exposing it. He's been exposing all those people who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they're spilling their beans because they're on dates. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I've seen him bust a lot of people, and I love it. I love when he bangs on the door waiting for him to come.
But it's not just busting people, but he's revealing things like how he revealed, going to an elderly person's home, asking them that they donated this many times to a
certain
left-wing thing called Act Blue.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it's like, did you donate this many thousands to Act Blue? And they're obviously on like a retirement.
They don't even know who the hell Act Blue is,
or perhaps Social Security or something like that. Yeah, and they have no idea what. I mean, no, they donated once, but not 5 or 6 times or more. So I mean, it's just opening up doors and opening up what they call the can of worms, and it's just very revealing. And it's like the Sunshine Law should be about like that.
Yeah, I want to see all of our revenue, Tio. I want it on a spreadsheet for all of us to see. I want to be able to go here's the bridge money, here's our toll road money, here's our gas tax money, and where the hell is it going? Same with property taxes. I want to know where the hell my money is going there too. Because when we had a fire, I didn't see one fire truck in sight. I was trying to put out the fire myself. What the hell? What is that?
That's ridiculous because then your property taxes to help fund the police, the fire department, and all that. If your local area, that's what it's about. It's what it's meant for. And if they're not coming to rescue, then you should definitely ask for a refund.
I seriously want a refund. And I go like this. when I finally did see him show up, and it was hours after the fire was going in between people's houses. And I mean, I literally thought the whole street was on fire. I had no idea from my vantage point, because it was so dark out, middle of the day. It looked like everybody's house was on fire. And I was like, oh my God, what are we now? Evacuating on a 2-lane highway was going to be a nightmare too, right? So when I finally saw him show up, I just started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, thank God. Because I kept praying, please get here, because we're all going to die, because we're not going to get out of this 2-lane highway like paradise. We're going to be stuck. Oh, it was just terrible. And everybody's houses were going to be burnt to the ground, you know? It was pretty bad.
Let's go back around a little bit to the candidates. I want to pop something up on screen here. Look how many people are running for governor. Right here in the left-hand column.
So ridiculous.
And I'll put the link in for the audio listeners, but it is, wow, crazy.
Yeah, that's bad.
I saw the name Timothy. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not running.
Damn, you running, man? Woo!
I'm running away.
Running from the state.
I know.
Running from this hellhole.
Way too many people.
I did actually.
That's all the parties.
But I know, Tim, you didn't get this, but Tanya, you probably got the pamphlet, right, of all the candidates.
Oh yeah.
There's a number of them. If there's one page, it basically shows that full list. It's amazing how many people think.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
But there's one candidate in there. Actually, there's two. Tom Steyer, who's a horrible person. He's a Trumper, like to the gills. He wasn't in there, and I was like, well, why isn't he in there? But then I also noticed that the Hilton is also bio. Let's put it that way. His bio, or his like why he's running, right? I guess it's because if you put in a bio in a pamphlet, you're only allowed, like, I think $20 million or $40 million of campaign funds that you can actually go against. So Tom Steyer, who's a billionaire, he wants to be able to like spend as much money as he possibly can. And I'm thinking the same as with Hilton. And people
they got money
up in arms, like, why isn't he even on here? But he is. He's in the list. He's just not. He didn't put in a bio. But I do think that people that look at those pamphlets, I don't think they all read them, but they'll
they don't.
They'll recognize the face, and then they'll go, I'm going to vote for this person. So if you don't put your name on there, or put your name in there, then I think it's kind of a little bit of a handicap. You know, but I think Hilton has a pretty good chance. I'm hoping him and Bianco actually can win both. I know it's impossible because there's like between the both of them, I think like 38% right now. And that's about that's like Democrats are, I think it's 41% in total. They're always going to probably be able to get at least one person in for sure.
I mean, the whole Trump endorsement for Hilton was typically, so we're in what's called the primaries.
Yeah.
Right.
Typically, the endorsements happen after the primaries, and I'm just like shaking my head because in the state of California, you can have two of the same party on the same ticket, and that's a huge disruption with that whole thing, with that endorsement from Trump. I'm not too fond of that.
Who was that lady, Tim? The lady that was on there, that was one of the on one of our shows with Pastor Jerry. She gets caught cussing out like her staff. I mean, she's just really.
Oh my gosh,
nice
Katie
person.
Porter! Wow, Katie Porter is a disaster.
That's it.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was a horribly mean
biting
person.
your head off if you're on her staff. No, thank you.
Yeah, she was pretty rude.
Horrible, but they're also eating themselves too. So they're basically kind of going at each other pretty badly. So I don't know. I would love to see two Republicans, because basically they did this whole primary because they knew that they already had the majority, and this is years ago. They were almost always guaranteed to at least have for sure one, but also probably two Democrats running against each other. And once you have that, then we're in a one party state. And I was going to go back to what you said earlier, Tim, about like, doesn't matter which, I'm not really into like either party. Like, it's good that, think about people of like who you really want to vote for. There's a really good meme that I saw that showed a culture, and it said there's a left wing and there's a right wing.
And a right wing.
Yes.
Think about it. It's true. I mean, there's a lot of right there too. So I'm not 100%. I'm a registered Republican. I'll say it, but
I am as well. Yes.
But the thing is, doesn't matter to me. I won't, like, if I lived in Kentucky, I would not be voting for Mitchell if he's running.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't vote for McCarthy if he was, my district here in California. I didn't like him either.
Oh, you're talking down in Kern County? No, I wouldn't either.
Because these are what we call those rhinos, and they're in there, but they're sort of on the same side as the Democrats. They'll vote for the same things that the Democrats are voting for, even though it has nothing to do with what we want from them. So,
I mean, somebody who's shocking me out of the Democrat side is Fetterman.
yes,
After his stroke happened, it's like, whoa, did that wake him up? He's actually seeing things for what it is. I don't mean to blame it on his own condition, but it's just like, wow.
I know. We had that conversation a few nights ago, and I thought that was really interesting because, like, I actually thought there's no way this guy's going to get voted in because his debate with Dr. Oz was horrendous.
It was
like he couldn't come out with a sentence. He was worse. He had worse word salad than Kamala had.
I can't stand that.
Gibberish. And I thought, there's no way this guy's going to win. He wins. I'm like, this is weird.
No way.
But again, I've always said, I think our elections are a little bit on the fraudulent side, a little cheating going on.
Right.
I think so. I'll tell you this: there's not a person I know that lives in San Francisco that likes Pelosi. I don't know one single person. I know a lot of people live in San Francisco.
Yeah,
but they don't like her at all. Somehow,
isn't she stepping down or not running again? So the next person to look out for is Scott Weiner. So
oh God, really?
Area, yeah. That guy's a disaster on.
But that's what I'm saying is if you think about if you ever watch the mafia movies, you ever heard of like becoming maid and you're a captain?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in for life.
Yep.
Right. Once you get there.
If you I don't know, I don't think there's ever a way to get out, to be honest, in the mafia.
I don't think they're gonna kill you.
Senators seem to always get in and never get out.
Right.
That seems like kind of like the mafia. To me.
Yeah.
Look at it as
organized crime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because they're making
a lot of organized crime.
Like Pelosi's the like one of the richest senators out there.
Ever,
not because of her great brilliance of being a senator, but her suddenly knowing that 60% of her stock picks are just going to win. Either up or down.
Right. I try to follow her, Tio. I try to follow her stuff because I'm like, this lady's making bank. I'm going to follow right behind her.
There's a kid, I think he is a graduate or he was in school at MIT. He created an app.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Have you seen that? Yeah, that follows.
Yeah, I love that. Yep.
I think she's
because
like
for some reason she's making. I don't even know how anybody could have that much success in the stock market. Literally, I mean, she is just. She's just killing it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so Martha Stewart goes to jail. And Pelosi just kicks back and has another glass of wine at Newsom's winery, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I want to share a link with the audience. It's 4 families that have been running California for the last over 80 years. I'll just put that in there, and it shows a lot.
And Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
As I've been seeing it since I believe 2019 or 2020. We actually used it quite a bit in the during the recall of 2020 that lasted into 2021. Wow, that was a long run.
Yeah, that was.
But yeah. The Browns, the Newsoms, the Pelosi's, and the Gettys. You named it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So one other thing we're going to talk about. Yeah, we're going to definitely go a little further into our normal hour. We talked about the SPLC. We talked about that last night, and we did make mention of it as our show started. So, Mr. Tio, tell us a little bit more.
Well, what I know of it is that this is the Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC. They were indicted, I believe, last Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday or Monday, with 11 counts of charges. Those counts are basically fraud, bank fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. And what they were doing is creating the chaos that they were supposed to be up against. So, for example, we had that Charlottesville get together where that someone unfortunately was killed because of a driver who really wasn't
Right.
there for either side. He just was lost.
Right. Right.
And unfortunately, he was surrounded by these people, and then he, stepped on the gas and ran over this lady, who happened to be on the opposing side of the left side, not the neo-Nazi side or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, so that thing, they found out that the SPLC paid the organizer around $75,000 to $80,000
Wow.
for this campaign to create the chaos.
Damn.
Wow.
And so that's one of the indictments against them, is that one. And go back to that time. So all of a sudden this thing happens. Trump said some things that obviously the media took up on and said, oh, there's good people on both sides, and that's not really what he said. He said a lot more than that, but this media took off with it. They're getting paid for some reason, do this. But then Joe Biden obviously runs for presidency in 2020 based on that whole thing. The whole thing was all about, I wasn't going to run until I heard the current president say that there was good people on both sides. He's, whatever that supposedly means. So we find out that the SPLC, who's supposed to go against these organizations, are the ones funding them. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about it. That they're generating revenue, because what happens? Something happens in the media. The media runs with it, and then all these people start spending or sending them money, donations, to try to fight.
Right, because they're nonprofit.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so that's the latest that I know of. But there's a lot more out there, a lot more different types of events that happen. But that's the most important one, I think, because that was, not only did that affect the 2020 election, because obviously Biden ran for it on it.
Right.
I'm guessing that there was a lot of the deep state money going into that as well. Not just SPLC, but just a lot of other, like the organizations, the 3-letter the alphabet organizations were putting into it. But they basically took that and then just made more chaos out of things. And I think this is great that we've got an attorney general finally coming in and looking at these things and said, you know what, we're going to take care of this now. And that's great, because Kash Patel, I don't know how much influence he's got, but he's the one who's sort of directing the FBI side of things. And now you got an attorney general that actually is going to do stuff, and I think
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think most Americans are, saying it's about time.
Yeah.
And
follow the money, people. Follow the money. You could just, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And we'll see. I don't know if there's going to be more coming out, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that are, kind of upset about, like, the Epstein files and all this other stuff that's not been pushed out. And, so maybe with Blanche in there, we might get more. We might see more people go. I know that last time when the files were released, not a lot of people in the U.S., but there were people outside the U.S. that were obviously went to jail, like Prince Andrew. I don't know if he went to jail, but he was, he was taken away in handcuffs and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure he's getting a pretty nice
smoke and mirrors, man.
Right.
But there were people that also were in those files that left jobs that they were in. So it wasn't like a nothing burger, but now maybe with Blanche, we'll see if there's some more coming down the pipe.
I sure hope so.
I
sure hope so. I would love to see that. So, I think Spencer's bound and determined to figure out where all that money from that whole fundraiser, where all that money went. He's bound and determined to bring that out. I'm pretty sure.
I went to Newsom.
I mean, I know some people that are saying, Spencer Pratt all the way.
Yeah, I like him. I do like him.
I'm still very well connected in California politics, so I get messages on a daily.
I do like him.
I like him too, and he's been going at it for a while, and it's been good.
He's got kind of some guts, I think, to go and stand up against all these people. And that's a scary thing to do in LA County, because you know what? They'll just lock you up and throw away the key usually.
Right.
I've seen him do it to attorneys and stuff that had, went against something that was, whatever kind of government entity. And I seen him get locked up. There was an old guy, a little tiny with the bow tie on, no threat to society whatsoever. And they locked him up in LA County jail for almost 2 years.
Wow.
With no trial, nothing. And he was just the cutest little thing. And I'm like, how in the world are you They held him in contempt and put him in solitary confinement for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
worst thing ever. So that's what
So-
they do. They shut you up or kill you. You got to be scared
That's the way
here.
it seems. Yeah.
You've heard of Tina Peters, I think. I don't know
Yes.
if you've heard of her, but she's out of somewhere in Colorado.
Yes.
She called out
Okay.
the fraud that was happening in 2020, and now she's serving time.
Exactly. They kill you or they lock you up. You got to be really careful.
Yeah,
Go
there's
back to
actually
Schumer.
So yeah.
Schumer
Yeah.
said this funny quote that Trump better be careful because those 3-letter agencies have 7 ways to kill you or get at you or something.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Those 3 letters.
I'm finally getting a attorney general that's actually going and trying to clean up.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And now he's out there calling out, the SPLC saying, they're going after this agency to try, let us not allow these people to actually do what they're supposed to do, which is fight racism. But that's not really what they were doing, But Schumer's saying that. But at the same time, he said, earlier that these agencies are the ones who actually go after, can go after anyone and put you away, basically. And that's kind of what we did to Trump, right? Go back to Mar-a-Lago and the raid on Mar-a-Lago, all these other things that were happening with the election in Atlanta.
They weaponized the justice system. You mean that whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for I can't think of his name now, but he was the mayor of New York. He was the attorney for Trump.
Oh, Rudy Giuliani, like Rudy
yes.
Giuliani guy.
They took all this, a lot of money from him. The other lady, I forgot her name now, but they went after him, and those people unfortunately don't have. I don't know what it is with Trump because Trump is just being able to he's like the Teflon Don, to be honest. He's like anything goes after him. He's like, okay, we'll fight it. We'll keep going after it. These other ones, Giuliani and all that, they kind of had to sit back and kind of, not continue because they were getting, they were basically getting purged of money. So, and that's what they want to do. They want to bankroll you or bankrupt.
Yeah. Right.
That's exactly what they do. They bankrupt you. That's how they shut you up. They're going to kill you. They're going to lock you up. They're going to take all your money. They're going to do everything that you have, any resource you have to fight back, and they're going to take it away.
Yeah.
So we're going to say a prayer that doesn't happen to Pratt.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
For real.
True.
And he's not suicidal either. Okay.
No, he's not. And don't even pretend he is.
Yeah.
So the conversation the 3 of us had last night, we kind of went down the rabbit hole. Do we want to go down the rabbit hole tonight, or do we have time?
We have to save TO for another time because that's a long rabbit hole we could go down.
So
I think that could be very
there's a comment that I didn't put up on screen. Someone's asking what TO's name is, and then we're gonna keep the
Terrell Owens, the football player. People, what's up?
It's Mr. TO. Yeah. So again, I'm gonna keep the confidence. Just we're gonna call him TO or Mr. TO.
Yeah.
Just to answer that
and
question.
I'm the mean ice skater lady, Tanya, the mean ice skater lady, right?
So we got the triple T threat here tonight.
Right on.
Tim, Tanya, and Tio.
I like it.
Really good.
I like it.
Been really good. Any final words before we close out?
For me, no. But I will say that this has been a fantastic hour speaking with you guys, talking about these topics. I think these topics are very important topics to talk about. I think a lot of people need to understand that there's a lot more out there than just what you see from the TV. Because the TV, I would say, is not giving anyone the real truth. So do your research, look it up. If you're looking for a good candidate, make sure you do the research on the candidate. I'll tell you, if they're anywhere associated with the World Economic Forum, go away from them.
Don't do it.
Exit stage, left, right, whichever way you want to go. Just don't.
Just exit.
Right. Exit. Yes. Exit to God. Right. Please help.
Right.
I want to pray for you all.
Start praying.
Yeah, definitely educate yourself, on the candidates as well as on, ballot measures and such. Read through it thoroughly and, read about your candidates thoroughly. Fight for the Constitution. Absolutely.
Right.
Just don't go for, these people are on the top, or, this sounds good.
Right.
Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. Yay. No, it's not good. If you read the language in that, you would actually see that it was garbage.
Right. Do your homework, people. Yeah.
Right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, give us a like, share, and follow at Tim Holliday TV. That's TIMHOLLIDAY TV. You can find us on YouTube, Rebel, Twitch TV, and Facebook, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.